Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for our webinar. My name is April, and I'll be your moderator. And we're just going to check on some technical difficulties there. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. We have a survey on your screen that you can answer at any time during the presentation to help us ensure we're providing you with a valuable experience. So please take a moment and fill that out before jumping off. If you have any questions at any time, please submit them in the Q&A box, also on your screen, and we'll answer them at the end of the presentation, if not before. Finally, a recording of this video will be available later today, and we'll email you that link after the webinar, so be on the lookout for that in your inbox. So we know you're all very busy and we want to respect your time, so I'm going to jump right in and introduce you to our presenter, Justin Moon. Justin has been in the lighting industry for almost 10 years now. Having worked with industrial customers to develop some of Acuity's most successful industrial products, Justin has spoken with literally thousands of warehouse owners, managers, and workers to drill down into their explicit and latent needs. His current role as the Director of Industrial Vertical Marketing continues his work serving industrial customers. It's my pleasure to welcome Justin Moon.
Thanks, April. Well, good day to everyone. I hope everyone is having a great Wednesday. So far, I could tell you that summer is upon Georgia. It's only the first week of June and already above 90 degrees, which means I'm counting the days until fall and football. But you did not sign up to hear about the weather, so what are we going to cover today? First thing we're going to look at are the warehouse costs that you can control. Then we're going to look at LED lighting as a cost-saving strategy. And finally, using controls to boost savings even further. Warehouse costs are varied, not only from the costs dealt with, but also from the standpoint of control. You have more direct control over some cost than others. Take building cost. You may have an opportunity once a year at most to influence these costs. Others with somewhat limited control include taxes, labor cost, and shipping cost. And the list goes on. Some costs afford you more opportunity, like lift truck costs and utility costs. What I've seen is that there are specific strategies and solutions available that make controlling electric power cost a great opportunity to put more money back into the business. So when looking specifically at electric power cost, did you know that 60% of the total electricity used in warehouse applications is for lighting? That's a big deal. But what does that actually look like? Are we talking dollars, thousands of dollars, or hundreds of thousands of dollars? Let's check it out. So we have three distinct examples across the country with different building sizes as well as local utility rates. Starting with a 175,000 square foot facility in LA, the total electric power costs for this specific facility were $305,000 a year. Taking the 60% lighting factor, you can see that the total lighting costs for this facility were $183,000 a year just to power the lighting. Now, the facility in Dallas has lower utility rates, so that 240,000 square foot facility only saw about $126,000 a year to power the lighting. A much larger facility in the Atlanta area with about average utility rates saw about almost $400,000 a year in electric power. These are substantial sums. So what factors make lighting costs higher than they should be? Well, there's two distinct ones that I've seen. The first one being traditional technology, such as fluorescent and HID. These use 150 to 250% more energy than LED technologies. The other is wasted energy. So an example of that is using just a traditional switch to control lighting in a warehouse. This can waste easily between 50 and 60% more energy depending on your specific application. There's another area that is often overlooked, and it's an assumption we all make. We assume that when we hear warehouse application, we are strictly talking about high bay lighting. Unfortunately, I find myself doing this often, but there's more than just high bays. Now, high bays are certainly the largest opportunity to save. Typically, what I've seen is about 50%. But there's actually the high wattage outdoor. High pressure sodium and metal halide technologies are still predominant here. Then you have office lighting, and then you can round out that application with strips and other types of lighting as well. So now that we know what factors make the lighting costs higher, and that it includes just high bays, let's dive a little bit deeper on the numbers. So we're going to take a specific look at this LA example and see what can be done going to different strategies with LED and controls. So again, that LA example included a traditional lighting system all across the application, from the indoor to the outdoor, and 175,000 square foot, using $183,000 a year of the estimated lighting energy costs. So switching out to a complete LED lighting system saved roughly $113,000 a year, which equated to about 62% savings and a 2-year payback. Now, in this specific example, this 2-year payback did not factor in any local utility rebates or any government incentives like EPAC, which what we've seen can easily drop that payback down to 0. So looking at some of the additional solutions that you can add, adding in sensors on top of the LED lighting solution can jumpstart your savings up to $130,000 a year. That's 71% savings. You maintain the same payback, and again, that's without the rebates or the incentives. Going with the best solution, the LED lighting system with network controls and sensors, get your savings up to almost $153,000 a year, or 83% savings. So this facility was able to reduce their lighting energy costs from $183,000 a year to just under $31,000 a year by going with an LED system with network controls and sensors. Those are real savings. So we go back to our main example, and I've already factored in the new lighting system costs. So LA went from $183,000 down to $30,000. You can see what Dallas and Atlanta took their lighting costs down to. So the new total electric power cost for your LA example went from $305,000 down to $152,000. That's about 50% savings. The other facility saw a similar type of example as well. So these are real savings that could be used to grow the business. What could you do with over $100,000 a year in savings? Maybe reinvest in the business, hire more labor, maybe pass it along to the current workforce. You know, one thing we like to say is these savings could essentially give you free forklifts for life. So over the years, we worked with thousands of different companies to help them optimize their space and maximize their savings. Preferred Freezer Services is one that we've worked with in recent years. You can see the quote from Brian Betty, the president, that return on investment is definitely a part of their process to go LED. But rather than me explaining Preferred's specific drivers to go LED, I'm going to let Brian explain it in his own words in a quick video.
Preferred Freezer Services builds, designs, and operates cold storage facilities. Our headquarters is located in Chatham, New Jersey, and we have 35 locations in the United States. Return on investment is definitely part of our thought process to go LED. We figured out where the best savings was from dollars per kilowatt hour, and also combine that with the incentive, because it varies state by state. Combine the two, and when we did our homework up front, figuring out what the ROI or return on investment is absolutely part of the decision. Just to give you some perspective on what the return looks like from Preferred Freezer Services standpoint, it was about a year payback or less depending on the location. So the decision was not a tough decision once we understood what the numbers were.
It's great to hear a company put the decision to go LED in their own terms. Preferred really took a great approach to optimize each facility. However, not all LEDs for warehouse applications are created equally. Not all energy savings are created equally, and not every company we've worked with has had such a great experience transitioning to LED. Sadly, some companies we've worked with originally went with a subpar LED solution that ended up costing them more in the long run. We get quite a number of calls asking us to fix subpar solutions all the time. Fortunately, we can help you do some of the due diligence when choosing the right solution. And another thing is to look for companies that have programs that certify the solutions as a whole. So we've already established that LEDs save money and that not all LED solutions will help you meet your cost savings goals in the same way. So here's what to look for in an LED system to ensure maximum cost savings. First is design, right? Is this system and is the complete solution built to perform in your specific space? You have multiple spaces, as we saw earlier, from the industrial high bays to outdoor office and strips. And so while warehousing is somewhat cookie cutter, you're still faced with different environmental conditions across the country and other factors in your specific facility. Right, an office light's not going to work in a high bay situation. So you really need to look for stuff that's built to perform in your application. Another one is selection. You have multiple different lamp types and probably fixture types throughout your facility. And you need an LED solution that will accommodate your specific environment rather than solutions that are one size fits all. And then lastly, reliability. In the unlikely event something does go wrong, you don't want to complicate your maintenance by having multiple manufacturers. You want to get them all from one manufacturer, from your high bays to your outdoor to your office. Imagine having to go to different places to get parts and systems as part of this package. So now we're going to transition a little bit to the control strategies, right? What control strategies boost savings even more? Here are just a few that we recommend for warehouse application. Fixture level is probably the easiest to implement, and in the back of the warehouse is probably the best way to control your lighting. Grouping is a good strategy to control different areas like aisles. A lot of customers want each light in the aisle to respond at once rather than each light coming on individually. Scheduling enables you to customize the light levels and energy based on a number of factors and can be automated rather simply. Finally, demand response is great for those areas of the country where peak pricing comes into play. This strategy enables you to reduce your load during peak demand, which in a lot of cases will not only save you today, but can also save you throughout the entire year if your rates are adjusted based on peak demand. In addition to these savings, many of these strategies are required by local codes, and that's another way that we can help you determine the best solution for your facility. Looking at these different strategies, right, the fixture level can save anywhere from 10 to 50%. Your grouping strategy has similar types of savings that you can see. Scheduling is anywhere from 10 to 40%. And again, that demand response, you could see 5 to 15%. But this could easily happen throughout the year. We have a video up on our website. If you go to www.acuitybrands.com/industrial, you can see a video that showcases these different strategies. So we already looked at the LED luminaires and skylights and what to look for. So what should you look for in controls? Well, first, again, remember that these solutions can save an additional 15 to 60%. First thing to look at is it integrated, right? Do multiple parts make your cohesive solution, right? You don't want to have multiple parts and install them in your facility. You want them to come from the manufacturer ready to go. Also, are they flexible? Can you easily implement your strategies as needed, right? You don't need time to figure out how to implement your strategies. You want to be able to go from fixture level to grouping to scheduling with a click of one button. And then finally, you need it to be simple. You want to be able to commission and configure your space simply. Right, pull it up, the easy software on your smartphone or PC, make a change quickly and move on. No wasting time trying to figure out how, right? None of us have time to figure out how. We want to pull up our phone, make the change, and get on with the day. So with all of these solutions, how does Acuity Brands certify that complete solution, right? How do we make it easy for you? With A+ certification. So you're probably asking yourself, what is A+ certification? So it's a certification system from Acuity Brands that provides clarity and assurance in helping you create the optimal lighting solution. So why A+? What we've seen is the rapid changes in technology have led to inconsistencies in appearance, performance, and significant component interoperability challenges when dealing with multiple manufacturers across product categories. Countless variables relative to the selection and specification of luminaires and system components increase design complexity and create significant risk to the seamless execution of a digital lighting solution. So a good way I like to think about this is back in the day when you had to create your own computer, right? When you had to go to multiple manufacturers, multiple companies to build your own computer. You would go to one company for the power supply, one for the motherboard, and so on. So this program ensures that you can go to one manufacturer and have the assurance that your complete system will perform as intended. This makes it easy and lets you handle your business. So rather than having to build your own computer and go to multiple people, you can easily walk into the Apple store, so to say, and get your perfect computer just like that. So what did we look at today? Which warehouse costs you can control, right? Electric power is that great opportunity and an easy one to control. LED lighting as a cost-saving strategy. We saw that it can save you some big money and use that savings to potentially reinvest in your business. And then finally, we looked at using controls to boost those savings even further, right? To jumpstart the savings an additional 15 to 60%. So with all that, what's your next step? We all have next steps after this webinar. Some of you will go about your day. Others may go grab lunch with a friend. That's probably what I'm going to do. Hopefully this information was valuable to many of you and you want to know more. Well, we've made taking a next step extremely easy. We have 2 poll questions and 1 additional follow-up slide, so we're almost done. So is your next step a free lighting and controls financial analysis? We can provide a complete breakdown to include the right solution, as well as looking at the utility rebates and government incentives like EPAC. Like I said, these incentives and these rebates can easily get your saving or your payback down to 0 months in a lot of cases. And we can provide that complete kind of package and analysis for you. If this is something you are interested in, all you've got to do is click yes. I'll give you a few moments to think it through. So maybe your next step is just to get a free lighting assessment and audit. So we have a team that can come in, assess your facility, make the best recommendations for your operation. So if you think this is your next step, just click yes. I'll give you a few moments to think it through. And again, we can look through that entire landscape from your high bays to your outdoor to your office, as well as your strips and other, and really make the best recommendation and tell you what you're doing today and what you could do in the future. Maybe you're unsure what you want to do next. Well, here are some additional ways to take next steps. These links are also in the Resources tab. You could view all of the preferred freezer videos in the Resources tab or by going to our website. You could download the warehouse application brochure, or if you just want to email me with some different questions, you can email me at industrialsolutions@acuitybrands.com. Well, thank you for your time today. I appreciate you giving me about 21 minutes of your time. I hope you have a great day. And April, back to you.
Great. Thank you so much, Justin. Before we jump into the Q&A portion of our webinar, just a reminder to please fill out the survey located on your screen. We have another industrial webinar scheduled sometime in August, and we would love to use your feedback to make that even more valuable. So please take a moment and fill that out before jumping off. Should take no more than a minute. Also, at this time, if you have any questions for Justin, please type them into the Q&A box, and we'll see how many we can cover. It looks like we have a few that have come in throughout the webinar. The first one was about your example, Justin. Wanted to know, as we transitioned from traditional to LED, did that example of the savings that we could assume, did that assume a one-to-one replacement of existing fixtures?
So yes, that specific example was looking at it from a one-to-one perspective. In a lot of cases, we've done the lighting assessment and audit and the financial analysis where it necessarily wasn't a one-for-one. And so that's easily something that we can do, but yes, that example was one-for-one.
Great. Another question came in about A+ certification. Is A+ recognized by other companies or disciplines?
That's a good question. Right now, A+ is an internal kind of certification system that we go through. We've got a number of different lab tests and some of the other things that we can do, and we can get that information to you if you need more information about what goes into certifying an A+ solution. That can easily be something you can email me at the industrialsolutions@acuitybrands.com.
Great. It looks like we have time for just a few more. So if you have questions, please don't be shy. Type them all in there. So generally, Justin, if somebody wanted to make this upgrade to an LED, what sort of upfront costs should they start to consider? Not numbers, but maybe what sort of things should they consider when they make this upgrade to an LED system?
So I think some of the things to consider is going back to looking at your application, right? Do you want to do the entire facility? Do you have enough, or do you want to kind of do the project in steps, right? Work on your high bay first, do some of your outdoor. From a cost perspective, what we've seen is a lot of times with the local rebates and the EPAC incentives that we can help align on that specific project, you can easily get it down to essentially 0-month payback. And so that's easily something that we can do for you. But again, it's kind of coming up with the strategy for your specific area.
Great. We have a really great question here. What is your stance, Justin, on how to apply motion controls to an area which may cause a safety problem if the lights go off?
So that's a great question. One of the misconceptions about occupancy sensors is obviously that they just do on-off. The sensors that we provide can do on-off and dimming. So the best thing to do there is specify what type of dimming level you want it to go to. So if you don't need the lights to turn off, it's very simple to just change it down to, I don't need it to go off. I want it to go down to 50% when there's nobody in the space. Or you can kind of flex that dimming level using some of the network controls that, again, can be done with a push of a button.
Great. I have another one about controls. So Justin, do you see wireless controls more often being applicable for an existing industrial building lighting upgrades? Or is this more for new buildings?
That's a great question. I think both are applicable. We've done a number of jobs on the new construction side, but also on the retrofit side where We've come in, and the best part on the retrofit side is you have a somewhat of a baseline of how the operations work, so you can really come in and go ahead and start optimizing certain areas. If you already know the back of the warehouse is somewhere that you don't go often, you could do your fixture level strategy. You could do the grouping strategy based on what the information that you already have today.
Great. I think we have time for one more here. We want to respect everybody's time. This one came in prior to the webinar, and it's something at least we hear a lot about, is about LED tubes. And we didn't cover it in our presentation, but this particular person was wondering if they were a good fit for upgrading their warehouse to an LED system.
So that's another great question. I guess that answer would fall back onto that warning slide where a lot of those solutions that I've seen that have gone into warehouse applications have been some of those calls that we've gotten to come back in and retrofit that back out, right? There's a lot of design elements when you're looking at 35 to 40 foot mounting heights, and sometimes the heat that can go into those buildings, and then the light levels that you may or may not get when you go with a solution like an LED tube. Fortunately, we can help with that lighting assessment and also help you do some due diligence when you're doing research.
Great. Well, I think that will cover it. I know we're getting a lot of questions here about products and if this presentation will be available. It will be available, and we'll send that link out to everybody registered within 24 hours of today. So look for that in your inbox, and you can access this recorded webinar at any time. We're also, for those of you who have specific questions about products that have come in, we'll reach out to you individually and answer those questions on your own. Again, please contact us at any time if you have any additional questions that you weren't able to answer or get answered during this webinar. And be on the lookout for our cold storage warehouse webinar coming in August. Thank you again, and please enjoy the rest of your day.